Hello and welcome to this I-Ching reading for March 2024 with Helen Hansen. I'm going to start with a brief background of the I-Ching and also how I conduct the reading before we'll go into the information relevant for this month. So the Chinese book entitled the I-Ching, translated directly into English, means the Book of Changes. And this book discusses the only constant in life, namely change. And it's a guidance to assisting one during small changes or great changes. However, the I-Ching does not predict or prescribe a future outcome. It indicates a suitable course of action to take in a particular situation. So when consulting with the I-Ching, it's an interactive experience because your intuition and knowingness is called upon. So as I go through and discuss with you this reading for the month of March 2024, I invite you to mindfully notice what sounds right for you. What makes sense for you right now? What do you feel resonates within your physical system? These are all indicators for you of what will benefit you to take heed of. Sometimes it's also important for one to notice what really makes you feel uncomfortable, maybe that you don't want to look at. Because often it's the things we don't want that are actually going to be beneficial. But trust your intuition with knowing when that is so for you. So with my interpretation coupled with your interpretation, you get to create this divine link between the state of the subjective psyche and external events that are impacting your life as well as the lives of others. Now, the text from the I-Ching originates in the form of trigrams, and these trigrams later developed into hexagrams. And the trigrams essentially form the basis of the code of creation or the universal laws. These symbolic representations are very similar to sacred geometry and they hold specific frequencies. Now, the trigrams are comprised of lines which represent the polarities of yin and yang. Yin being the powerful feminine, the dark, the reflective nature, while yang is the powerful masculine, the light, and the very active nature. So this archetypal language of the yin-yang philosophy, along with Taoism and Confucianism, are all at the heart of the I-Ching. So the I-Ching was first introduced into the West in the 18th century, but it really only took hold in about the 1940s after a German missionary, Richard Wilhelm. He translated the I-Ching into English. And then it became a very, very popular book and is one of the most widely sought after, read, and sold books nowadays. Personally, I've been studying the Tao Te Ching since 2011, and professionally, I have been working with yin-yang philosophy since 2016. And yin-yang philosophy forms the foundation of meridian therapy, and this I use in my kinesiology practice. I've also been doing personalized I-Ching readings since 2020, and since 2022, collective readings such as the one that we're doing today. So being a kinesiologist, I use muscle testing to ascertain the relevant hexagram. So I start with a thorough clearing of myself, my physical body, all my vibrational systems, and then I put the theme into my electrical circuit. And the theme is humans on the earth from the 1st of March to 31st of March, 2024. I then muscle test all the 64 hexagrams to see which one is going to hold the strongest, which is going to have the most relevant information for all of us, individually but also collectively. In today's instance, there was only one hexagram that stood out 100% clear. And on that note, let's dive straight into our I-Ching reading for March 2024. I'd like to take a few moments as we move into the reading to set an intention with you. If you are able to pause what you're doing for a minute or two, then please do so we can set our intention together. You may want to close your eyes. If you are not able to do that, you can just focus on bringing your attention down the body into the feet and grounding yourself from the head down. Just taking a breath in, exhaling, moving to the side, all thoughts and emotions. Taking one more deep breath in, exhaling whatever you need to exhale. And now, let's set the intention. I trust 100% that the information that I'm about to receive, both externally and intuitively, is for my highest good. Breathe in and then let that go. And if you want to continue in a closed eye position, you're welcome to do so. Or if you need to move into another position, that's also fine. There are no rules. So whatever is comfortable for you. Now, the hexagram that came through for all of us for March 2024 is hexagram number 48. So this is a big one, and I got goosebumps when I saw it was this one because it makes so much sense, and you'll see as we move further through the information. Just to talk for a moment about the actual hexagram visual. So it starts at the bottom with the yin line, which is 2 lines. It's actually one line which is broken. And then above that are 2 yang lines. This is followed by another yin line, then a yang line, and ending with a yin line on top. Now this visual represents a well. I'd like you to just take a moment and consider, what is a well? What does a well do? What is its function? What does it hold? Think about it symbolically. As I mentioned earlier, the information presented here is coming from a very complex archetypal structure. So it's very important and it's valuable and meaningful for you if you can engage with this from more of a right brain perspective. Obviously, there is logical left brain as well, but we want that connection with the heart because that is where you're going to get your intuitive responses from. So when we think about the well symbolically, we think of a provider of nourishment. And drawing from a well every day is necessary to maintain nourishment. It's important for us to remember that while we have our own well of our own resources, there are also other wells, communal wells, where we get resources from. So it's important to have those, to know them, and to also circulate, not only for receiving, but also for giving. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. It's very important for us to remember to maintain our wells, our individual well, and then our collective wells. And the first well to take care of is your own. When you have enough of your own inner resources, then you can be fulfilled and you can fulfill others, be that individually or in a group space. Take a moment now to think of some of the other wells that you are part of. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's work where you have colleagues or clients. Maybe it's friends. Maybe you have a group of like-minded spiritual individuals that you connect with that form another well where you give and receive from. Just take a moment to think of all the different wells that you are connected with. And from the well of one's own inner nature, we learn from our individual and our collective experiences. So let's think about that symbolically for a moment. And let's imagine that. So imagine that you're standing above a well and you call down into this well. And then after saying a few words, you pause and you listen. You're going to hear your voice. You're going to hear the words. You're going to hear the quality of the sound. How does that all feel? What do you notice? Now take a moment to picture yourself standing above a communal well. Maybe this is with family members, maybe it's with friends, whoever it is. And this time when you call down, yours is not the only voice. Yours is not the only resource that is filling this well. So when you pause to reflect, you notice your voice in unison with others. And you notice the harmony, or perhaps not. See what stands out for you when you call down the specific well that you are thinking of at the moment. And just the first response that comes up, that's always the response that you want to engage with and acknowledge, because that is information from the subconscious coming up to the conscious. So what was important about this visual and symbolic experience is we started to notice when we paused. So this is another very important aspect for this March month of 2024. And yes, of course, pausing is always important, but specifically now, because this pausing is going to assist you with your self-awareness, and that self-awareness is going to assist you with your awareness of your resources that you have that are available, your resources maybe that you need to increase, or maybe even noticing where there's a lack and allowing the void to talk to you and guide you as to what is needed in that area or in that space. Another important message for this month of March is stay close to what sustains you. In other words, don't move far away from your well of inner resources. Don't move too far away from those other communal wells which support you and which you support, because both are very important. An important part of the message that comes through in this hexagram number 48 is being mindful of blocks that can stand in your way of accessing your resources, or even believing that you have resources. So you might be thinking to yourself, I don't have any resources at the moment. I'm completely depleted, or I have nothing to give. I can barely fill my own well. I can't go and fill the well of others. This is part of a belief system of I'm not enough, or perhaps I'm not good enough. So if those thoughts or feelings have been with you or are with you, that is something that needs to be addressed, as well as the emotion of feeling inadequate. You don't feel like, again, you've got the adequate skills or knowledge or worth. If there's a low sense of self-worth, this time of March is so supported for you to address that. And it's important to remember that the frequency of inadequacy is actually something that has been imprinted on most, if not all, of our psyches as it comes down generation to generation. So this is something that is not new in this life as we know it now. It's been experienced by our forefathers and their forefathers in some shape or form. And when something is so deeply ingrained, sometimes we don't even notice it. Maybe you've already done a lot of shadow work around feeling inadequate or feeling not good enough. Just check in with yourself, because even if it's showing up for you just 10% or 5%, it means that possibly there's another layer or another perspective for you to look at this imprint. Maybe it's also from a collective point of view. And never doubt the impact that your own personal work has on the greater whole. I see that time and time again in sessions, especially with parents. Individuals will come in for sessions on themselves and they happen to be a parent, and how the benefits just naturally spill over into their home with their partners, their children, and others. You can see this in work environments as well. And you don't have to do anything. It does the work itself, because the frequency in your being when you're doing work that is so uplifting and transformative and healing, your electromagnetic field changes. And so you go into an environment now where you used to have a particular frequency, you've got a different frequency, people will react to you differently. And you'll begin to notice that. Sometimes life just seems to flow a little bit easier. Even if you notice just a few percent difference in your life, that is a change, and that is movement, and that is to be celebrated. So to recap, we need to make sure that our own inner resource system is full and fulfilling. We need to make sure that we are part of communal groups where we both give and receive. And we need to also look at old belief systems that could be impacting us or draining our resources, such as I am not good enough or not feeling adequate enough. So to help you unpack this information just a little bit more deeply for yourself, so that you can get the accurate information from your intuition and your subconscious, and then be guided by this through the month of March, I'm just going to take you now through a short guided meditation process. So if you would like to join in, you can close your eyes or choose a spot to look downwards to. Just focus on one spot. Just allowing the breath to calm the body, feeling all the muscles relax, bringing in an inner smile. One more deep breath in and out. And then if you can bring a blank canvas into your mind's eye. I'm going to be asking you a few questions, and with each one, if you can place your answer on the canvas, whatever that is. It could be in word form, it could be in image form, it could be a flashback from the past, so it could be like a mental movie. It could be symbolic. It could be very abstract, just colors or sounds, whatever comes through for you. Go with the first response. Taking a deep breath in now and just trusting completely that all the information coming through is 100% for your highest good. Can you connect now to your own inner well of resources? Whatever those resources might comprise of. And just notice that resource that is the strongest, that is the most powerful, that you have the most of. What is your greatest strength that fuels you, that you can rely on, that supports you from the inside out? And place that representation onto your canvas in your mind's eye. Now, as you place it on the canvas, it may start to move and change, transform. Allow it to have this life of its own. Just notice, just acknowledge. Take a deep breath in now and let's exhale that out and bring the canvas once more to a blank canvas. And now the question is, where is there a void in my well of resources? What do I need more of? What is lacking? Or what is there but it hasn't been looked after, it hasn't been nurtured? First thing that comes to mind, place that on the canvas. Notice what happens when it's on the canvas. Take a deep breath in, exhale, and bringing the canvas back, clear. Now can you connect with a communal well? Maybe it's your family, maybe it's your circle of friends, whatever group where you put energy into, of whatever kind. Just notice the atmosphere, the feeling for you of being part of this communal well. First response that comes up doesn't have to make sense. Just place it on the canvas. Just trust. And just notice. And allow it to be as you acknowledge and look at it. And if you need more time to be with this, just press pause here and then you can return when you complete. But for now, we're going to breathe out and bring our canvas back to blank for the final time. And if you can connect with the thoughts, the beliefs, the feelings around, I'm not enough, I'm inadequate, a low self-worth. And it can be in any area of life. It can be across all areas. It can be current. It can be from the past. First thing that comes up, the first representation of that. Place that on the canvas. Spend a few moments engaging with it as you observe it. The transformational process is filled with self-awareness. And this is what is happening now. Being aware of the self. Now I'd like you to intuitively connect with your higher self, your all-knowing self, your wise inner being, whatever narrative you'd like to use, and ask this part of yourself to interact with a representation of this old pattern that's on your canvas and allow it to bring in its light quality, its light vibration, and to transform this in whatever way, shape, or form. Try not to control this process, just allow it to happen and unfold before your very eyes. And taking a deep breath in, you're going to pause there. So exhale, bring your canvas back to blank, slowly opening your eyes, bringing yourself back into present time. And if this is the first time that you've done such a process, it might have felt different and strange to you. You might not have got many responses. You might even have got, I don't know. And that's okay. I don't know is a response. So allow that to be, because what happens when we get an I don't know is there's communication between our subconscious and conscious, and that is what we want to happen. And the more we engage with the process like this, the more information we're going to get coming through all the layers into our conscious awareness, so we can start to be more and more aware of the answers, of our intuition, of this innate wisdom that is there with you all the time. We are born with that. It's part of our birthright. It's just about bringing this to the foreground. And we do that by placing attention on it. So never doubt the power of your self-awareness, your observation of self, and what that is actually doing. And know that that is going to be so beneficial for you in this month of March. So as you move through March, make sure that your inner well is full, that you've got enough energy, that you've got enough of everything that you need to function in all ways throughout your day, throughout your week, throughout the different cycles and flows of your life. And then make sure that you are able to engage in at least in one other communal group in a beneficial way. Make sure first that you're able to give, because then the receiving is easy. And ensure that you maintain a connection to your innate wisdom and all those resources. Be very, very mindful of that. And if you're at all feeling stuck, go back to that process that we used and journal for yourself the answers that came down. And then as you reflect on them a few minutes, a few hours, a few days, a few weeks later, you will start to get more and more and more information coming through. Remember, it is practice. I wish you a beautiful month of flow in March, and a month filled with intuitive, meaningful, both earthly and spiritual resources for you and all others in your life. Thank you for joining me here on this I-Ching reading for March 2024.